Hello folks, welcome back to Charlie's Shed. They are indeed my legs that you're staring at there. Sorry about that, but just demonstrating that the other day it was such a beautiful, lovely, sunny day. I could actually wear some shorts just in the garden outside near the shed. So I thought it was a perfect day to pop down to Wickes, get myself a couple of sheets of plyboard and some wood as well, wooden strips, wooden battens there, and there they are. That is about 60 centimetres wide by 180 centimetres long, and these are the ingredients that I need for my baseboard. So I'm going to sort of construct a baseboard on a very basic layout, sort of a sheet and a half of ply. I offered up one of the sheets into the shed just to make sure that it would fit and get a rough idea of the dimensions. As I mentioned, that's about 180 long from the front to the back of the bike. So what I ended up doing was cutting it down to 150 and then used the leftover strips as a backboard eventually to the layout we'll see later on. And then there are the wooden strips, 8 of those in total, packet of 8, and again they're 180 or 1.8 meters long if you like. So what I needed to do is basically trim them down. So I started with the longest length first, if that made sense, and just to make sure that the cuts were nice and straight, used a saw. There we go. I don't know if assume that everybody sort of realizes that on the edge of a saw, if you hold that up, you get some sort of 90-degree set square there. So use that to mark a straight line across, although I think in that particular shot it's not quite straight. So yeah, a few of the cuts were a little bit off, but that's the Charlie way sometimes. So there we go. Eventually I ended up with the 2 longer pieces on the far side there, and then 5 sort of shorter strips, and then 2 smaller strips for the ends. Now this will all make sense in a moment when I put it all together. But basically what I'm doing there is checking that the 2 pieces of wood at the bottom are basically going to go on either end of the board, and then those 4 shorter bits next to it, they're going to go across in the middle as supports. So I'm just sort of checking that I've got the right distance by offering up a couple of pieces of spare wood there. Now, very important, I'm normally, well, I am a keen DIYer, but normally I just crack on and screw things straight in without drilling pilot holes, but these are pretty sort of thin bits of wood, so drilling the pilot holes here really helped out, and just means that you don't split the end of the wood, so that's highly recommended. So just roughly working out where I needed a hole, drilling pilot holes, and there we have a shot with all the sort of bits of wood cut to length that I needed. So then once I'd got all these in place, started sort of laying them out on the ground, and eventually screwing them together, starting with one end. So we can see here in the next picture that I kind of went a bit of a cack-handed way about this, because some of these bits of wood were a little bit warped and got a little bit twisted, probably while they were being stored in the shop. So I screwed one of the ends on first, and then I went missed a batten out and went one further down just to start it off, and kind of start building the frame there just outside. So then once I'd put all the battens in and the other end on, so you can see we've got the 4 equally spaced there in the middle, and those lengths are obviously shorter than the 2 at the ends, which screw into the longest pieces, if that makes any sense at all. Okay, so once I'd got that all screwed together, very important at this stage as well was to drill some holes in right through in the middle sections, which will eventually be underneath the board, as you can see here. So for wiring, bus wires, and so on later on. Then I started to screw down the main board, the ply board, onto the top of the frame. So the key thing here really is, you can see me there marking out with a spare piece of wood basically where those lengths of wood are underneath that piece of ply, because obviously once you put it on top, it's a little bit hit and miss, so you can just about make out the pencil lines there. And I did that all the way along, and this also obviously is really going to help when I start putting track on the board or signals, things like that. I'm going to know where those pieces of wood are underneath, so I'm going to avoid any of those for a a possible location for a point motor, for example. It wouldn't be very sensible. So this is then having one whole piece on, and you can see there's a bit of overhang on the left hand side there, so I just got the jigsaw and zip down to take that off, and then put the second bit on and obviously trim that across the top and down the side again. Yeah, there we go. That's the back of the board. So there are holes all the way through the middle battens, a couple of holes in there on each one for the wiring, as I mentioned. But yeah, overall pretty happy with that. It's a fairly neat job. Obviously it's just a bit of ply stuck to a frame, but what is a baseboard if not that? So what we've got here is obviously a very sort of kind of flat standard blank canvas to work with. Obviously the other way of doing this would be to put that plywood only where the track is going to be, but that if you want more advanced options for your scenery. So there you can see it stacked in the corner of the shed, and the strips propped up there. Basically there's a shorter one and a longer one, and they will be the back scene once the baseboard's up in place. So let's see what that might look like. Let's have a look at that now. So this is me very crudely propping it up here, just on top of a bike. So we've got the baseboard in the shed. Obviously on the video it looks absolutely massive. But yeah, I might put it that way around, I might put it the other way around across the sort of side wall there. But yeah, it certainly makes it a lot cozier in here. But I'm very pleased with the way that's gone. And yeah, it just makes the whole project seem a little bit more real now. I've actually got something physical to start working on. So yes, it's going to be track plans and planning soon. And obviously just over here, it's a little bit dark now, but we've got the offcuts of the ply from the sort of edge and the side, so that can be for me a nice backboard, and all along the back and around the corner, so I can have some kind of mountainscape over there, something like that. So yeah, that's now in the shed. You can't see it through there, just getting carried away now. But yeah, very happy with that.